I'm going to dash through 125 years of Illinois Tech history in about 20 minutes. There's a lot to tell, and it's impossible to include in this presentation everyone and everything that has made this university what it is today. But I thought you might like to hear some fun facts about Illinois Tech that you may not already know, and also be reminded about the people, places, and things that have marked significant milestones in our history. So, let's get started. At Illinois Institute of Technology, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Frank Gonzalez, first president of Armour Institute. His million-dollar sermon inspired Philip Danforth Armour to provide the seed money for the forerunner of Illinois Tech. So why can't we find a copy of his sermon? Well, Gonzalez left his home without it, spoke extemporaneously from the pulpit that day, then probably threw it away when he got back home, never realizing its historic significance and that we'd spend hundreds of hours looking for it 125 years later. Armour was Chicago's meatpacking magnate. His company was reportedly the first in the U.S. to produce canned meat and was one of the pioneers in the use of refrigeration to transport perishable products across the country. And that $1 million he gave to Reverend Gonzalez in 1890? In today's dollars, that would be a gift to the Fueling Innovation campaign of about $26 million. This is Julia Beveridge, also known as the mother of Illinois Tech. Her work at the Armour mission was most likely the reason Armour decided to make his million-dollar investment. She put together a curriculum of practical arts, ranging from woodworking to dressmaking, to give the young people in the community skills to make a living. And soon hundreds of students were enrolled in her classes. This is an Armour Institute graduating class from the 1890s. The institute started off co-ed with a wide-ranging curriculum, but soon its trustees and faculty decided engineering would be its primary focus and only men would be admitted. Clearly, in 2015, we've come full circle in our thinking and educational philosophy. This is the 1893 Armour Institute football team. Yes, Illinois Tech had a football team, and I'm assuming those women standing in the background are cheerleaders. Quoting our new athletic director, Joe Hakes, it's a point of pride that the Illinois Tech football team has remained undefeated for 122 years. One of the Institute's earliest and most distinguished graduates was Charles Pierce. In 1901, Mr. Pierce had the distinction of being Armour's first chemical engineering graduate, and he may have been the first African-American chemical engineer in the U.S. Across town, Lewis Institute, another forerunner of Illinois Tech, was formed in 1895 through an estate gift of $1.6 million from Allen Cleveland Lewis. Lewis, a Chicago hardware merchant and investor, wanted to create a school of arts and sciences for those who needed an education to get a better life, but who couldn't afford one without assistance. By the way, that $1.6 million would be the equivalent today of a gift to the Fueling Innovation campaign of about $46 million. Many famous people, including Benny Goodman, attended classes at Lewis. Another was Dorothy Thompson, second from the left in the top row. A leading foreign correspondent and political commentator in Europe between the world wars, she graduated from Lewis in 1912. Thompson was actually expelled from Nazi Germany for criticizing Hitler, and she was married to Sinclair Lewis, the novelist. No, Wallace Simpson did not attend Lewis, but Mayne Rousseau Bacher, who designed her wedding dress for her marriage to Edward VIII, did. In addition to English royalty, his haute couture fashion house dressed Hollywood celebrities such as Claudette Colbert and Loretta Young, and he designed the uniforms for the Waves in World War II. Pictured here is one of Illinois Tech's most distinguished graduates, Marvin Kamras, credited as the inventor of magnetic recording. In 1946, Illinois Tech psychology chair David Boder used the equipment developed by Kamras to interview survivors of the Holocaust. Leonard Reifel invented the telestrator, which allows you to draw freehand on a still or moving image. It's used today in sports and weather broadcasting, on medical scans, and was even used on crime scene images at the O.J. Simpson trial. Lois Graham, the first woman in the country to earn a doctorate in mechanical engineering. Marty Cooper, the father of the cell phone. Marty, what can we say except thank you for helping to make all of us available 365, 24/7, anywhere in the world. One of the Little Rock Nine, Gloria Ray Carlmark, seen here with her fellow classmates, standing up against segregation at their Arkansas high school in 1957. We all know engineers rock, especially James Young, lead guitarist for the rock band Styx, who earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering from Illinois Tech in 1970. Susan Solomon, Chemistry 1977, was awarded the National Medal of Science in 1999 for her research connecting the Antarctic ozone hole to man-made chlorofluorocarbons. She served on the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and shared in the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize as a member of that group. This is Jason Resch, Computer Science Class of 2006, software architect at CleverSafe. He has 121 patents and 267 patent applications pending. And this is Jason Tenenbaum, Class of 2007, Mission Operations Engineer for SpaceX, the private company that designs rockets and spacecraft. One of our newest entrepreneurs and innovators is Dane Christensen, inventor of the X-Cube, who graduated from Illinois Tech in 2015. You can't tell the story of Illinois Tech without talking about Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. But what is there left to say? In the Illinois Tech archives, waiting to be restored, is one of apparently 3 copies in the world of a documentary film produced in 1968 by his daughter Georgia. When she asked her father, who was 82 at the time, what he still wanted to build, he said a cathedral, thus reminding all of us that sometimes even for someone like Mies, more is more. And no history of Illinois Tech would be complete without saying thank you to the 2 Bobs. In 1996, university trustees and regents, Robert Galvin and Robert Pritzker, left and right, pledged $120 million to Illinois Tech, the largest single gift in higher education at that time. To understand how far Illinois Tech has come, we also need to know what was taking place on campus, in our community, and in Chicago during the past 125 years. Industry in Chicago in the 19th century was concentrated on the south side of the city, and that's where the Armour family built stockyards and a slaughterhouse. They shipped live cattle from the west, and then after slaughter, shipped the meat and byproducts across the country in refrigerated rail cars. The Armour mission was created to provide for the spiritual life of the community, as well as to teach practical skills to young people in the neighborhood. The flats were apartments for his employees, and main building housed the library, classrooms, machine shops, and a gymnasium for the new Armour Institute. This is an 1893 photo of one of those early machine shops. Looks a bit like Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. This is the Armour Institute of Technology campus in 1906. Machinery Hall was the second structure built for the institute, and this is what you would have seen looking south down the street, nicknamed the Gorge. Across town was the Lewis Institute. This is a picture from 1904. Lewis was built on the corner of Madison and Damon Streets, the current site of the United Center. This is a chemistry lab at the Lewis Institute. Quoting from a 1940 memoir by Agnes J. Kaufman, who was the registrar at the Institute for more than 20 years, even in the 1870s, it was evident to a far-seeing planner that men were not always going to be able to support their families, and that women would have to work. In 1890, Chicago's South Side was at the height of its development and influence. In fact, the South Side of Chicago was one of the most elegant places to live in the city or anywhere in the country at the end of the 19th century. It was also the site of the World's Columbian Exposition of 1893. And Bronzeville, at the beginning of the 20th century, was a crowded but thriving community, filled with African American-owned businesses, professionals, and families. State Street between 26th and 39th Streets was known as the Stroll, a happening place filled with jazz clubs and cafes that hosted musicians from New Orleans and the greats such as Louis Armstrong. Automobiles and bridges played a major role in our history. Once you could cross the Chicago River, the suburbs opened up to the captains of industry and Chicago's middle class, who had previously lived on the South Side. Deteriorating housing, restrictive housing covenants, and the Great Depression prevented the African Americans who had come to Chicago during the Great Migration around World War I from moving, and Bronzeville fell in hard times. If there was ever a time to move Illinois Tech, this was it. But it was in the late 1930s that the Board of Trustees made a bold decision to stay on the South Side and to expand the campus. Here, President Henry T. Heald shows the new campus plan by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Mies began to build the new Illinois Tech during World War II, at a time when more than 50,000 civilian and military personnel enrolled in Illinois Tech's Engineering, Science, and Management War Training Program. The Armor Research Foundation was a beehive of war-related research, and Heald used Illinois Tech's military connections to gain funding for new construction. Between 1942 and 1956, Mies designed 20 buildings for our campus. That's more than one a year for 14 years. This rare image from a 35mm color slide shows S.R. Crown Hall during construction. The last building designed by Mies for Illinois Tech. It opened in 1955 and was dedicated in 1956. This drawing shows 28 buildings added to the campus in the 13 years between 1957 and 1970. Stewart Building was the last construction on campus until 1990. In the early 1990s, new campuses were added. Pictured here is the National Center for Food Safety and Technology, located on the university's southwest suburban Moffett campus. The Rice campus in Wheaton opened in 1991. Illinois Tech's downtown campus opened in 1992 and was awarded the Interior Architecture Award from the American Institute of Architects of Chicago. Bronzeville was also experiencing a renaissance in the early 1990s. In 1992, Illinois Tech sold 9 vacant lots east of main campus, and the resulting homes, which sold at market rates, were featured in the nation's first urban parade of homes. Pictured here is Leroy Kennedy, looking quite dapper, who had been hired in 1989 to direct Illinois Tech's community affairs and outreach programs. In 1997, S.R. Crown Hall was named a City of Chicago landmark. This is the campus in 1998. Notice the stretch of parking lots from 31st to 35th Streets. State Street had parking lanes on both sides of the street and a narrow dirt median strip with a few struggling trees. This was the visual approach to our campus from both north and south. This is a 1997 photo of the parking lot upon which State Street Village was later built. What a difference! In 2003, the Rem Koolhaas-designed McCormick Tribune Campus Center opens. In 2003, State Street Village was dedicated, the state-of-the-art residence hall designed by alumnus Helmut Jahn. And this is what that parking lot stretch of State Street looked like today. We have Irv Footlet to thank for the trees. Now in the National Register of Historic Places, Illinois Tech was recently named one of America's most beautiful college campuses. And our campus is about to be transformed again. The Illinois Tech Innovation Center, also known as the Ed Kaplan Family Institute for Innovation and Tech Entrepreneurship, designed by John Ronan, will light up the main campus, literally and figuratively, a few years from now. History is also the story of ideas and products. Some are noble experiments from which we learn what to do differently next time. Others are the missing link that makes something else finally work. And some by themselves change the course of human history. Extraordinary things, such as magnetic tape recording, which gave us everything from answering machines to movie soundtracks. Noble experiments such as the snow cruiser, the mobile research lab developed by the Armor Research Foundation for Admiral Richard E. Byrd's third expedition to Antarctica in 1939. Illinois Tech's 1959 UNIVAC computer, which was used to store data from the 1960 U.S. Census, one of only 3 of its kind in existence. And today, Illinois Tech is making a name for itself in the field of big data. The portable cell phone, what is there left to say? The first nuclear reactor designed for private industrial research was built by North American Aviation for Armor Research Foundation on the Illinois Tech main campus. Today, our physics professors are continuing that tradition through their work at Argonne, Fermi, and CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Geneva, Switzerland. In 1970, the rocket-propelled Blue Flame car, co-developed with Illinois Tech's Institute of Gas Technology, broke the land speed record, hitting 622.4 miles per hour. And today's Armor students continue their quest to build a competitive electric Formula One race car. Innovative products, designs, and processes have always been the hallmark of Illinois Tech's Institute of Design. But I bet many of you didn't know that Art Paul, the creator of the famous and infamous Playboy bunny logo, was a student at ID. Illinois Tech has a Playboy connection. Who knew? In 2003, the Chicago White Sox unveiled a new home run distance measurement system for a U.S. cellular field, developed by a team of undergraduate students through Illinois Tech's Interprofessional Projects program, also known as iPro. And in 2015, Emily Schroeder and Nicolette Ward, students at Chicago Kent College of Law, won the 40th Annual National Trial Competition, the premier trial advocacy tournament in the United States, continuing Chicago Kent's long history of achievement in the classroom and in the courtroom. I originally titled this slide, Illinois Tech, where fun does not go to die, but let's let the University of Chicago keep that tagline, because at Illinois Tech, having fun has always been part of our equation and our history. Attendees at the 1905 Roman dinner, love those togas. The 1948 Illinois Tech Junior Prom at the Congress Hotel, love the dresses and the fact that it was integrated. An entry in the 1970s Amelia Earhart kite flying contest, love the name of the contest, even though there's absolutely no connection between Earhart and Illinois Tech that we could find. I'm guessing it's the 1960s based on the fashion, although the dress socks and the tennis shoes on the guy in the top left make me think he's stuck in the 1950s. Delts versus triangle, some rivalries never die. In 2000, graduating seniors stole the man on a bench sculpture and put him in the office of President Lou Collins. The provenance of the beer bottle remains unknown. In 2005, the first annual Illinois Tech Pumpkin Launch competition was held on campus, featuring student-designed pumpkin hurling contraptions and catapults. In 2007, the bog reopens, and Lou Collins goes bowling. I'm assuming he just threw a strike, but there is a rumor that it was actually a gutter ball. So what's next for Illinois Tech? You're looking at 2 members of the class of 2030, already excited about coming to the university. And they are coming our way with attitude and energy. They are wearing bibs that say SPIT, spelled S-P-I-I-T, happens. We're looking forward to welcoming the new generation of Scarlet Hawks. And there is no doubt that Illinois Tech will continue to move innovation forward in the years and decades ahead. It's been a great first 125 years, but I think we all agree that our best days are yet to come.